Good afternoon, folks. JB here with you live on WFLA now. Eagle 8 HD just making it to South Tampa, where you can see the Tampa Fire Rescue actively working a structure fire. It's a fire at an apartment building. We've got all the details for you on WFLA.com. This is in the Bayshore District, not too far away from Bayshore itself. Again, details for you on WFLA.com. South Carolina Avenue closed as a result of this fire. Let's get you back here full screen to Eagle 8 HD so you guys can see exactly what we are seeing. You can see that there's clearly a lot of smoke coming from the site of this fire. And Tampa Fire Rescue, they have a ladder up above the structure in question here. Again, talking about an apartment building. As soon as we have some details on the ground, we'll pass them along to you. But right now, what we know is on WFLA.com, an active apartment building fire in South Tampa. I'll be back with updates. Good shot here from Eagle, showing everybody just how much water they're putting onto the roof section, or what was the roof section of this apartment building. You can see that they're trying to concentrate the water on the active flames that are shooting out from a, we don't know exactly what level the fire originated on, but you can see just how much damage that there is to the roof of this apartment building. There are two apartment buildings that are adjacent to one another. And of course, all of the attention being paid to the one that is on fire, with all the smoke billowing into the air above South Tampa. There's a shot of the reemergence now of some of those flames. We were just showing you how Tampa Fire Rescue was focusing that water flow onto that corner of the building. They moved the water flow off of it, and then within moments, the flames reemerging from that section of the building, not too far away from the sidewalk itself. We'll pass along details as soon as we get them on potential injuries, if anybody was in the building at the time of the fire breaking out. As soon as we get those details, we'll pass them along on this live stream here on WFLA Now. This is, again, an active apartment building fire in South Tampa, not too far away from Bayshore. We also have a crew on the ground expected to be there momentarily to perhaps ask some of the officials there with Tampa Fire Rescue what the very latest is as far as the occupants, if any, of the vehicle at the time the fire began. We got word of the fire about 30 to 35 minutes ago, around 3 o'clock Eastern time. You can see that there's a lot of Tampa Fire Rescue personnel down there on the street. Again, South Carolina Avenue in South Tampa, in this particular section of South Tampa, closed as a result of this active fire. Interesting note about the fire itself is that we have you can see the flow of water that is coming out of what is believed to be either the front entrance or perhaps one of the rear entrance exit ways to the building itself. You can see just how much water is. What's interesting about this particular fire is that none of the flames are shooting out any of the windows, from what we can tell. None of the flames are shooting out of the balcony or any sideway access points. It's all shooting upwards. All the flames, all the heat, all the smoke, it's all coming skyward out of the roof itself. A roof that is now, once Tampa Fire Rescue is able to get the fire under control, we'll be able to see how much damage there is to the roof. But from what we are seeing at this vantage point, there isn't much rooftop left, with all of that smoke coming from what used to be the rooftop of this apartment building in South Tampa. We are now getting our ground shot. Let's go now to our ground shot and show you a live feed from right next to where Tampa Fire Rescue is located on the ground. Again, working an active fire here in South Tampa. This just gives you a very good perspective as to just how much smoke is in this South Tampa neighborhood. And then when you go back, this is now back to Eagle, you can see it's just a tremendous amount of smoke coming from the roof and now extending to the sidewalks and the walkways below. In fact, if we go back now to the ground shot one more time, we don't even have, that's exactly what we're looking at. So much haze and so much brightness as a result of all of that haze on the ground, making this shot unusable. We'll stay here with you and go back one more time live to Eagle 8 HD and stay focused on this shot from South Tampa. Again, for those of you just joining us, JB here with you live on WFLA Now. Eagle 8 HD moments ago arriving in the area of South Carolina Avenue in South Tampa for an active apartment building fire. You can see here there's just a tremendous amount of white smoke that is billowing into the air. All of the flames that we are seeing from this structure fire are shooting skyward, out of the roof, or what used to be the roof of this apartment building. We are awaiting details on whether or not there were any occupants inside the building at the time of the structure fire beginning. We're also awaiting details on, of course, whether or not there's anybody injured. Tampa Fire Rescue working this right now as an active scene. Let's go back here full screen and show you. What you can see right now is just that ladder extended several stories above the building itself, and the flow of water, of course, that is coming from Tampa Fire Rescue and their personnel dealing with a tremendous amount of smoke above the building, trying to contain the flames that are shooting from what used to be the roof of this building. So I would imagine that there's a lot of folks, and saying hello for the first time to our Facebook Live audience. Wherever you're watching from. If you're watching from South Tampa, it is very likely that if you look outside your front door, your front window, you might be able to see, and you likely will be able to see, a large amount of gray smoke descending above the Tampa skyline. That's a result, of course, of this fire that Eagle 8 HD is currently over, and Eagle 8 HD maneuvering and navigating around. Here's the best shot we've had yet of the roof. It's not completely gone, but you can see several holes, at least 1, 2, 3, 6 or 7 areas of the roof that are now exposed as a result of the fire, that we don't know if it's on the top floor or the floor underneath. And here's a good shot. Let's go to our ground crew, our shot from our ground crew. They're trying to, of course, get in the most safe position possible to provide us with an idea as to what's going on the ground. Just showing you some of the smoke that has made its way down to the ground. I mean, that is a tremendous amount of smoke from this active apartment fire in South Tampa. Let's go side by side here. You guys can see what we're talking about. There it is from Eagle 8 HD on the left. And here we have our news crew getting video of the scene from the ground. Again, on South Carolina Avenue, the area of South Carolina Avenue in the Bayshore District of South Tampa. And once again, let's go full screen to Eagle, because you can see that they are really trying to focus their attention on the front, or really this section of the building that is closest to us from this vantage point. There you see the flames that are shooting out again. So much water has been concentrated on the front of this building where those flames are shooting out, and the flames continue to come back. They continue to persist. The water cannon is targeting that area, and this looks to be the worst side of this fire, with the flame shooting out of both corners and a lot of different areas of that rooftop having holes in them exposed as a result of all that heat billowing up towards the sky. If we can go now back to our shot from the ground, our ground crews, you can see how much water, of course, is making its way out of that building and onto the streets below. There's a really good shot of some of the flames that are coming out of that same section of the building. Again, going side by side here from Eagle 8 HD on the left, our ground crews on the right. And Eagle very much focused on this section of the building, as are our crews on the ground. Look at that shot there on the right. You can just see how quickly and how many, not just how many, we've been, of course, focusing so much on the personnel on the ground, but just how much smoke is descending skyward. I'm sure that this is something that you might be able to see this from all around Tampa Bay with how much smoke is ascending into the air. Here you can see from our ground crew on the right, you can see some folks standing outside. That looks to be somebody carrying either a crate for a small dog or a cat. And you can see, okay, let's go back now to Eagle. You'll be able to see on the left, they're getting now a second hose lined up. And now, and if you just saw it for our very astute observers, you might have seen that line just get filled. They're now going to start pumping some water from that far section of the building in from our Tampa Fire Rescue team on the ground, pouring more water onto this fire. It goes without saying, but I'll just mention this for our audience just joining us. Folks might be asking, how did this fire begin? What is the cause of that fire? That, of course, is going to be the result of an investigation by Tampa Fire Rescue. We do not know at this time what is the cause of this fire. We just know that, of course, it started around, we got news of it around 45 minutes ago, around 3 o'clock. I'll get you an exact timestamp as to when it was believed to have been called in to Tampa Fire Rescue. And they have now been working it for some time. And yet, as much water is being dumped on this building, these flames continue to persist. So something is keeping this fire going. And it, of course, is going to be made perhaps more clear as we get a better idea as to what is inside this building. It is an apartment building. But the cause of this fire and what Tampa Fire Rescue gives us information-wise might be able to paint a better picture as to why, even with all of this water from the water cannon, you can see it flowing out onto the street below. All that water, the fire continues to persist. There's the crew we were talking about on the ground getting some more water on the building. So they now have water coming from above, water coming from below, trying to attack this fire from as many angles as possible. But given how much damage this fire has already caused to the roof, considering what is likely an absolute pressure cooker of heat on the interior of this building, and given all the water that is being pumped in, it is very likely that this building is an absolute loss, a total loss. That, of course, is something that is deemed at a later time by Tampa Fire Rescue. So look, they've got water cannons on 2 separate ladders. That's the one that you're looking at there that is unmanned. You have then the one that is manned on the right, and then you have a third stream of water coming in from the hose from the ground team below. And actually, our ground crew is showing us the unmanned water cannon now that is being controlled, of course, robotically by crews with Tampa Fire Rescue on the ground or in the truck itself. We'll come back to this shot. Our crews are moving around. And there's a better idea as to how much smoke is ascending into the air above South Tampa, likely visible from many different vantage points around Tampa Bay. Again, as soon as we have information passed along our way as to if there are any injuries, we'll let you know about it. This is a 2-alarm fire according to Tampa Fire Rescue, and we do have an updated address now, a precise address that we can pass along. This is the apartment building located at 2509 West Kansas Avenue. It's right there at the intersection of Kansas and South Carolina Avenue. There are 2 apartment buildings that are nearly identical that are side by side. It's 2505 West Kansas and 2509. The building that we're talking about is 2509 West. There you see, okay, so as we're looking here, there's 2509 on the right. That's 2505 on the other side. Sorry, my left and right is a little bit different than your left and right. The building that is on fire is 2509 West Kansas. The building that is not on fire is 2505 West Kansas, right there in the Bayshore district of South Tampa. Let's go live to our ground shot. Show you some of the personnel that are working this fire. It's a hot day, 92 degrees right now in Tampa, Florida. So I would imagine it's considerably hotter for crews working this scene. It probably feels like 100, if not more. We've, of course, had, we've been regularly in the 90s for a couple of weeks now. It's been extraordinarily hot as we are in a summer weather pattern here in Tampa Bay. We go back now to Eagle. This is just some of our crews on the ground getting shots. So there again, on the left and on the right, that's the unmanned water cannon on the left. We've got another one there on the right. I'll try to address some of the comments that are coming in the Facebook Live comment section. If you use hashtag HeyJB, you can get my attention. LaShorn Battle says hashtag HeyJB. Do we know if anybody is in the apartments? Of course, an evacuation has taken place of the building itself. We don't know how many people were inside the building at the time. So it's hard to say, considering we don't know how many apartments inside this building were being leased out or had occupants in them at the time. But we have been monitoring our ground shot as well, as we show you the ground shot on the right. And our ground shot has been showing a lot of individuals standing around and watching this fire unfold. We've seen some folks carrying items, have items in their hand. We cannot say for certain as to whether or not they are people who live in, because look, they very likely have evacuated the second one of these, as you see now, the signage, the Kansas Avenue Apartments. There's two buildings that are nearly identical, and one is on fire, one is not. It's very likely that they evacuated both buildings. As we see on the right there, just how many hoses they have set up to channel as much water as possible into 2509 Kansas. We'll stay here with you live on the left with Eagle 8 HD. One of our commenters in our comment section, let's see here, Lori Rose, asking any idea how many units are in the building and where can those displaced go for immediate housing assistance. That's something that we're, of course, going to have shortly. I'll make sure that information gets passed along. Nico Clemens, our reporter, is down there and is going to be speaking with some of the folks that have potentially been displaced by this. As far as how many units there are, I'm trying to find out from the internet how many units there are in this building. I've seen a couple of different numbers, but a normal floor plan is 1 bedroom, 1 bath, about 600 square feet per unit. It's hard to say exactly how many units are inside, and also as well, it's hard to say how many units are actively being rented out at this time. So if I get that information confirmed, I'll pass it along to you. But they're 600 square foot apartments. As we get a wide shot now, showing you all the smoke ascending above South Tampa. One of our commenters in our comment section saying they're probably all rented. And you would imagine that it's very likely that almost all, if not all, of these units are rented inside this building. Reason just being, I mean, if you factor in just a dose of common sense, right now, trying to find a place to live in Tampa, especially South Tampa, near downtown, South Tampa, a very popular place to live. We have been talking at great length for months now about the supply and demand issues that there are with housing in South Tampa in particular. Of course, rent has gone through the roof. It has caused a major problem for people trying to find affordable living somewhere in Tampa, South Tampa. So you would imagine that it's very likely that these units have been rented out, which would, of course, mean that a lot of individuals are displaced and losing a lot of their belongings, depending on just how much damage that there is on, we're looking now at, say, it's a 2-story building. And so you're hoping that at least some of that first floor is salvageable, and some of the areas towards the back end, some of that can be salvaged, but right now it's not looking good given how much damage that there is to the roof and how many hot spots that there are coming through and shooting through the roof. You had a good shot of it there from Eagle. You could see just how many areas and holes there are that have been exposed in the roof, all those hot spots, all those flames shooting up towards the sky, needing a method of escape and burning through the rooftop itself in certain spots. So you would imagine that a lot of the interior of the building is at a complete and total loss. You hope that at least some of it, for the folks that live in these units, you would imagine that they're praying as much as they can for at least some of those belongings to be salvageable. I'm talking about what happens with fires is that we're not just talking about the materialistic things. We're not talking about your LED TV. We're not talking about, of course, like, you know, the materialistic things, you know, furniture and your TV and your computer. Your computer can actually have sentimental things on them. Computers can be precious because sometimes there are files on those computers that are irreplaceable. I'm talking about photographs. I'm talking about pieces of jewelry. I'm talking about some of these things that get lost in fires that have such extreme sentimental value to people, that are so precious to people. And so fires, of course, can destroy so much so quickly. And so at least here's to hoping that they can salvage as much of the building as possible so that people do not lose the entirety of their belongings that were contained within these units. Getting back now to full screen, Eagle 8 HD over this active apartment building fire in South Tampa. A lot of commenters noting as well, too, pointing out the pets. Pets are, of course, I think you would ask most people and they would tell you that it's the most precious thing in their home are their pets. And if you're working a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job and you leave your dog or your cat or your pet at home and there's a fire inside of your building, this can, of course, be a tragic situation involving the pets. Let's go to Nico Clemens. He's on the ground. Let's listen in.
In Kansas Avenue, we're panning up so you can see just a few moments ago this entire street just covered, filled with smoke. Firefighters trying their best to put the flames out. Right now we are waiting to get an update from firefighters, the public information officer, if there are any injuries, how this fire may have started. We don't know that right now, but we're going to get that information hopefully in the next 5 minutes or so. We know the apartment next door, people evacuated from there. I just spoke with one woman who says she had some animals in this apartment, so she rushed home, tried to get them out before the fire possibly spread to this next building. So again, this is the Kansas Avenue apartments. We are waiting to get an update from firefighters, but you can see they're still trying to put this fire out. At this time, at this moment, we don't know about any injuries or how this fire may have started, but again, we'll learn that in a few moments here. Live in Tampa, I'm Nico Clemens, 8 on your side.
Thank you to Nico for that live report on WFLA News Channel 8, your NBC station here in Tampa Bay. And you heard him note there some of the people trying to get into that, trying to get their pets out. Yeah, a lot of folks joining us in our comment section asking about pets. Pets, especially for, you know, when you're talking about people again that work Monday to Friday 9 to 5 jobs. The time right now is 4:02 Eastern time this Tuesday, June 28th, and this fire. Let's see if we can get a better timestamp for you as to when this fire is believed to have occurred. And we'll get that information here for you as soon as we can. I believe that the report... Hold on, everybody. I got it right here. The report came into us, shortly, right before 3 o'clock. Right before 3 o'clock. And they were just getting to the scene. So 3 o'clock, I mean, it's right in the middle of the workday. Not in the towards the tail end of the workday. But... yeah, of course, thinking about all the pets, all the precious belongings, and most importantly, the people that may or may not have been in these units at the time of the fire breaking out. As soon as we get details about people, pets, precious belongings, we'll pass it along to you on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, as well as on air tonight with Nico on WFLA News Channel 8. Rachel's asking in our comment section about the age of the building. As soon as we get that passed along, or as soon as we find that information out, we'll pass it along. And I'll do a little bit of homework here to see if we can determine the age of the building. Why is that so important? Age of the building is important because depending on the materials in which they use to make that building, and depending on, of course, the safety has improved over time as apartment buildings have been constructed over time. So the age of the building is so very important. We'll try to pass along that information as soon as we have it. I'll try to answer as many comments and questions that we have here as well, provided they use our hashtag system. That's how you kind of get my attention at the Facebook Live comment section. Carol says, "Oh my God, this is tragic, that my heart breaks. Prayers for all the families. I know this is hard, but remember that things can be replaced. I wonder how many have renter's insurance. God bless." And Tim thanking the reporters that are there on the ground covering this story as well. We'll keep an eye out for your comments in the comment section. Again, this is live from South Tampa, the apartment building that is on fire, the Kansas Avenue Apartments on West Kansas Avenue at the Kansas Avenue and South Carolina Avenue intersection in the Bayshore District. There was a good shot of Bayshore and showing everybody just where this is geographically in relation to the Bayshore District. Again, this is in South Tampa, not too far away from where we're located here at WFLA. This is at Kansas Avenue and South Carolina Avenue. Live from Eagle 8 HD. Here's a really good shot of just how much damage has been done to the roof. And look, if you want to know what the before and after might look like, just look at the nearly identical building, 2505 Kansas Avenue there on the right. So clearly a considerable amount of damage to the roof. And this is also, I believe, the first time that we're really getting a good look from this side of the building. We're also getting ready for an interview with Tampa Fire Rescue. Let's listen in.
I'm going to give you everything we have for right now, okay? Our investigators still haven't gone inside because it's of this. Oh, hello. Hi, Rochelle. All right, friends. You good? You sure? All right, ready? Let's start with the standard. Vivian McIlrath. Vivian, V-I-V-I-A-N, McIlrath, M-C-I-L-R-A-T-H, Public Information Officer, Tampa Fire Rescue. I hope my hair is not too crazy. Let's make magic happen. All right, guys, at 2:30 p.m. today, we received a call of smoke from the roof of the Kansas Avenue apartments in Bayshore. When we arrived on scene, we also confirmed that there was smoke coming from the roof. It was light smoke, and then it started to build as the fire seemed to have gained some strength. We have used aerial units to the fire seems to have originated on the roof. Firefighters currently are using 2 aerial units to attack the fire from different angles. So from our Alpha Bravo side and our Charlie Delta side. So front and side, back and side, so that we can make sure that we extinguish the fire completely on the roof. The type of roof structure is what's causing it to continuously build, and we just continuously extinguish it as best as we can. And so that's why right now we have truck 1 and truck 14 on scene extinguishing the fire. We have our firefighters that did do a primary and secondary search. There were no occupants. All occupants were evacuated from the structure. There are currently no injuries to any civilians or any firefighters at this time. This firefighter was bumped up to a second alarm due to the excessive heat that's outside, so we wanted to make sure that our firefighters had plenty of energy and we had plenty of personnel to be able to rotate through as we were extinguishing the fire. Let's go. We had at least 3 phone calls of 3 911 calls. We had one starting with a construction company that was out here, and they said they saw smoke. And then once we got multiple calls, we immediately made it a working fire to send more units as quickly as possible. There's currently 7 engines, 2 trucks, and our trucks are our aerial capabilities, which is right now doing the majority of the work, as you can see behind me.
Is there any concern it might spread to the other buildings?
There is concern, but that's why we have plenty of hand lines down on the ground so that we are ready for those exposures. And as always, Tampa Fire is always ready to make sure that we can make sure that all pieces of property surrounding this fire are perfectly safe.
Has it spread to any other floors or just on the roof?
Right now it's on the roof. We haven't been inside right as of this moment. And our investigators, once they're ready, they're going to be going inside.
Do you have any people were evacuated or were inside?
Not right now. I do not have that exact number.
In addition to obviously having those extra crews, are you guys doing anything else to make sure these firefighters stay cool? It's hot outside.
Yes, we are continuously hydrating. We have multiple rescues out here that are not only for any civilians that may have any injuries, but also for our firefighters. We're making sure they stay hydrated because the heat index is high, and if you know about our gear, it's very thick, so we want to make sure that our firefighters stay hydrated.
Can you explain kind of the difficulties of dealing with fire on a roof like that?
Well, we're very limited to the number of people that are up there. Right now we have 2 individuals in our bucket on truck 14, and we are also working with that communication from truck 14 to identify where truck 1 will be angling its water source as well. We have 2 chiefs, or 3 chiefs, I apologize, 3 chiefs that are monitoring 3 different sides of the building, and also safety concerns, making sure that our firefighters are safe, making sure that the community is safe and away from the danger. We had a couple of gusts of smoke, so we want to make sure that they're inside or away from the smoke coming in, and also making sure the fire doesn't spread to any part of the building.
I know you're just how many next door talked about having pets in there. People next door, I'm assuming they were evacuated, they were kind of getting everything.
Yeah, there was one individual that was next door that we went to the structure. We woke him up. He was asleep. We were able to wake him up, get himself and his pet out, and they were evacuated from the structure. But that structure isn't in any danger right now. Jordan?
Any idea just how many total firefighters are here right now?
I don't have that number right now. But with 7 engines, it averages about 3 people per engine, and with a truck, it has 4. Sí. Ajá. Te lo puedo decir después en el baño.
There was a gentleman that was sitting in a chair when he first got here.
He was the one that was sleeping, and and he was a little disoriented, so we wanted to make sure that we did render aid just in case, but there were no injuries found. And he was the one with the pet, and we have a good Samaritan that has taken care of the pet for right now, so that way the gentleman can be taken care of with any concerns, and the dog is obviously in good spirits.
What's the age of the structure about?
Not sure about anything about the structure or anything about the size of the structure. I apologize.
Would the type of structure, would that play into the danger of why
Right.
firefighters are not going in here?
Mostly because it's all happening on the roof, and so we're concerned of anything coming down. So
Residents have access to where it's at the rooftop area?
I'm not sure. I couldn't give you that answer. I'm sorry. Any other questions? Once this is all said and done, we're going to communicate with the residents, and we're going to communicate with Red Cross to get them assistance as they need it.
Do you know how many residents are displaced?
I do not know right now. Some residents can also be at work, so I apologize if this is how they're finding out. Any questions? Any further questions? Nico, Sarah? We're good? Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, guys.
Vivian there with Tampa Fire Rescue, providing us with that update. No occupants, no injuries in this South Tampa fire. One gentleman in the apartments did have to get woken up from the adjacent building, as we understand it, with his pet, and also get evacuated, get out of the building as quickly as possible. That's the latest that we have from South Tampa. Again, fire that was reported sometime before 3 o'clock. The call coming in, they got there. Smoke was shooting out, and then as soon as they had their response there on scene, the fire, of course, begins to develop. We've been watching it here live, of course, once Eagle 8 HD got there as well. The very latest on this story, folks, on WFLA.com. The WFLA app will stay here with you live as Eagle 8 HD above this active fire in South Tampa, the West Kansas Avenue area, of course, that we're focusing in on, the Kansas Avenue apartments themselves. Multiple water cannons from above. Truck 14 and truck 1, according to Vivian, shooting as much water as possible, concentrating that flow of water into the 2509 West Kansas apartment building. We'll stay here with you live on WFLA now.